Breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Now on Fox 50, a man is in the hospital after a shooting. The WRAL Breaking News Tracker has new information from someone who saw this all happen.
And it's a warm one this afternoon. We could tie a record high with temperatures in the 70s. I'll show you why it won't last until tomorrow.
Plus, a 2-year-old shot. The new calls this morning for protecting children in Durham from gun violence. And pushing back, how China is responding this morning immediately after President Trump's tariffs went into effect at midnight. Covering that story and so many others here this morning on WRAL News and Fox 50. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Chris Lovingood. We do have meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner out on the WRAL weather patio enjoying what is going to be the start of a beautiful day.
And you know what? I'm going to be pushing today. Get outside, get outside. We are going to have some nice days in the next week to get outside. Today will be one of them. Tomorrow will not. And we'll talk about that coming up. A live look at Apex right now, looking really pretty. Lots of sunshine out there. Real comfortable. You don't really need a heavy jacket. This is, sort of the lighter jacket, and I'm really comfortable in it. But it won't be long before this will be too much. 50 right now, a southwest wind at 5 miles per hour. That southwesterly wind will help to push more warm air into the region. It is 48 in Roxborough, 50 in Durham, 50 in Fayetteville and Goldsboro, and 54 degrees in Southern Pines. Our hour-by-hour forecast warms up fast. We should be close to 70 degrees at lunchtime, and then in the mid-70s this afternoon. Looking for 76, which would tie the old record, but we're right back to feeling like winter tomorrow. I'll show you why coming up.
All right, Elizabeth, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. All new, actually, just reported in. Our friends at Raleigh Wake 911 crash on the I-440 eastbound near Wake Forest Road. We're not seeing any delays in those eastbound lanes there at Wake Forest Road, but just watch for some police activity as we isolate the Beltline. We can see those delays building, coming off those I-87 lanes into the westbound lanes of the Beltline on the northern loop. We're also seeing congestion building on the southern loop of the Beltline. You see what I'm talking about, courtesy of our live cam network. I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road. You can see the bumper traffic, those westbound lanes moving away from us this morning. So give yourself some extra time as that part of your morning commute because either way, the northern loop and the southern loop of the Beltline, you got congestion either way you look at it. In terms of the other major routes heading into the capital city, the real troubled spot, our friends at Wake Forest, coming into the capital city, you're looking at a 23-minute delay. So leave the house a little sooner than usual. And once you get to Nightdale from Zebulon, you're looking at an 8-minute delay to get to the Beltline area. And of course, once you get to the Beltline, you're having that delay. We do have a crash on I-885 in the southbound lane. So heading into Durham this morning, you're looking at a 5-minute delay. If you're leaving Durham on 885, just a 6-minute delay. So keep that in mind. In terms of the other major routes, they're relatively delay-free at this hour, but always when you're heading out into the car, traffic is constantly changing. 101.5 HD3 will keep you updated throughout the Triangle.
We continue to follow breaking news this morning. A man is hurt after a shooting in Durham this morning. Nick Perlin drove to the scene on South Plum Street in the WRAL Breaking News Tracker to figure out what happened there.
Durham police were busy early this morning investigating a shooting that left one man hurt. I want to show you some video from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker. This is at a home right off of Anger Avenue. You can see here the red front door of this home is wide open as investigators take pictures and shine flashlights outside of the home. We also saw Durham police inside of the house trying to gather more information. Here's what we know. We know at around 5, Durham police say they arrived here and found one man shot. That person was taken to the hospital and is expected to recover. They also tell us they were able to arrest the person who they suspected of shooting that man. At this point in time, though, we're still working with the Durham Police Department to figure out what led up to the shooting. As more information comes, we'll be sure to update you. In Durham, Nick Perlin, WRAL News.
China is putting trade sanctions of its own on the United States. It's in retaliation for President Donald Trump's 10% tariff on Chinese imports, and that went into effect at midnight. Let's bring in WRAL's Laura Levine. She joins us live from the Village District in Raleigh. Laura, a lot of the products we have in America say clearly made in China. We could see pricier things.
We sure could. Good morning, Chris. As you've just mentioned, many products that we buy as consumers from companies or local businesses like the one you see here in the Village District are from China, and now the country is now backing down, fighting back against the U.S. with a series of countermeasures that includes levies on certain American goods. China's finance ministry says it will impose tariffs of 15% for U.S. coal and liquid natural gas and 10% for crude oil, farm equipment, agricultural machinery, and large engine cars imported from the U.S. They also announced they will restrict some critical minerals, including tungsten, which is essential for producing cell phones and laptops. In a statement, the Chinese finance ministry said the U.S. tariffs severely violate World Trade Organization rules and not only fail to address America's own problems, but also disrupt normal economic and trade cooperation between China and the United States. China is also now investigating Google on suspicion of violating antitrust law, so now taking aim at certain companies here in the U.S. All of this is developing today, so we will continue to follow how this could impact our local economy. For now, these counter tariffs are slated to take effect on February 10th, which is next Monday. Laura Levine, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
And it's not just China. Europe is bracing for a potential trade showdown with the United States. The president of the European Commission says she wants to start negotiating with the U.S. early. Trump says the European Union will be another target for tariffs. He claims the EU has, quote, really taken advantage of us. Back here locally, a 2-year-old boy is recovering from being shot in Durham, and this happened at the Oxford Manor housing complex on Wigan Street just before 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. The boy's aunt says he was playing on the sidewalk in front of the home when someone started shooting. One of the bullets hit him in the leg.
Whoever you were trying to target it was a whole toddler right there. Whatever you got going on could wait for whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't care what y'all got going on. It was a whole toddler right there.
A toddler. The boy's aunt says he was released from the hospital last night and is recovering at home. Police have not announced any suspects or arrests in that case. And new this morning, a man was severely injured during a shooting in Goldsboro. Officers responded to Madison Avenue just after 10 o'clock last night because of a shot spotter alert. That's where they found the man who was shot. He was taken to the hospital, and police say they do have substantial leads toward making an arrest. Covering Wake County, today, school leaders will lay out their top priorities for lawmakers in Raleigh. As WRAL's Kelsey Coffey explains, the board wants to see issues such as teacher pay and school calendars addressed in this.
The board will meet here at Wake School's headquarters to talk about what they should bring before state lawmakers. They have 3 main priorities: teacher pay, special education funding, and changing the school calendar. Let's talk about teacher pay first. School leaders want to pay teachers more. That's usually an ask every year. They also want to increase special education funding. Right now, students with more mild disabilities are funded at the same rate as students with more severe disabilities. State officials and local school leaders have discussed changing that funding model. School leaders also are looking to start the school year earlier in August. WRAL education insider Emily Walkenhorst explains why.
They want to be able to finish exams before Christmas break, before students kind of have a chance to forget things. They want to be able to align with community colleges since more and more high school students are taking community college classes.
Walkenhorst says all of these are just general ideas. They don't have a dollar amount on these requests yet, but we'll be sure to keep you updated on what comes out of this meeting tonight at 5:30. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Cary.
Today, President Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will meet at the White House. Netanyahu will be the first foreign leader to visit Trump during his second term. As this is being planned, Netanyahu faces pressure to begin talks about the next phase of a ceasefire deal with Hamas. White House leaders say Trump and Netanyahu will hold a joint press conference, and that'll happen at some point today. We're hearing from the family of Keith Siegel. That's the Chapel Hill native who is now free after Hamas held him in captivity for more than a year. Speaking from a hospital in Israel, his family says he is weak, he is thin, but they are grateful he's alive. What you're seeing here is video from over the weekend when Siegel was finally reunited with his family. He is one of the 33 hostages to be released in this ceasefire deal. His wife Aviva called on Israel to help.
The relief I feel is incredible. Yet, as I hold him close, my thoughts are with the 79 families who are still waiting for their loved ones to return.
Aviva and Keith Siegel were taken hostage on October 7, 2023. She was released 51 days later. Governor Josh Stein is calling for state lawmakers to double what they have spent on Helene survivors in western North Carolina. State lawmakers earmarked just under $1 billion for Helene relief. They say they want to wait to see what federal help the state will get before they spend more. Stein is calling on them to spend another $1 billion in the very near future. And he says the families and the businesses that survived the storm cannot wait any longer.
This recovery is going to take a long time, and my administration is in this for the long haul. I know that the legislature is as well.
Damages from the storm are estimated at nearly $60 billion, and the state is expected to get more than $15 billion in federal aid. Your time this morning is 8:10. Taking down an active shooter. The Texas fathers who stepped up and took action after gunshots were fired. Plus, SpaceX's latest launch, when you could see the Falcon 9 ascend from here in North Carolina.
It's pleasantly cool right now, but make an effort if you can to eat lunch outside. So beautiful. Temperatures will be close to 70 degrees with lots of sunshine. You won't want to eat out tomorrow. I'll show you why.
Getting a live look at Durham this morning. Kind of a stunning look, too, just from the way the lighting is there and the overcast. As you're watching WRAL News, available on Hulu and the WRAL app on your TV or your streaming device. Now, granted, we'll see a little more overcast tomorrow, but today, the sunshine, right? That's what we're looking forward to. Elizabeth Gardner is tracking that for you on the WRAL weather patio. You're going to have to eventually take that coat off at some point today, Elizabeth.
Yeah, I can't wait to take the coat off a little bit later on. But I'll tell you right now, it's a little bit of a breeze. It's a little bit on the chilly side. We're, hovering right around 50. So the coat's pretty comfortable right now. Take a live look at Apex, which is usually pretty busy with people out and about. I'm sure that they will be out and about a little later on. Look at that, all that blue sky. I was sort of surprised to see those clouds there in Durham. I do think that once we get to the end of the day, we'll see more cloud cover streaming in ahead of the system that'll affect us tomorrow. 50 degrees right now in the Triangle. Will warm up to around 70 by lunchtime. Temperatures across the region right now, 54 in Southern Pines, 51 in Goldsboro, 50 in Rocky Mount. Look at this photo. It's a really neat one. This is from Sean Whiteside of Rollsville. The sun is actually up here, like at the top of the picture, shining down through these clouds. These are high, thin cirrus clouds that are made up of ice crystals, and they refract the light and create these rainbow colors. So really neat stuff. Thanks for sending that one in. We love your photos. Go to WRAL.com/reportit and send us a few. A tale of two seasons. Today, definitely feeling like spring, mid-70s, and then tomorrow feeling like winter. We'll see a high of only 49 degrees. It'll be cloudy, a little drizzly, especially late in the day. We're not going to see any snow, but gosh, 49. It's going to be awfully chilly. So today, enjoy it. 76 in Raleigh, 75 in Durham, and 78 degrees in Fayetteville. You take a look at our potential for record highs this week, and you would think that we're having a warm week across the board. Today, 76 could tie the record. 71 Thursday, 73 on Sunday. Sunday's just going to be a couple of degrees from the record high. But instead, tomorrow, we're going to take the deep dive into the cold air. Mid-40s in the north, mid-50s down south. Those will be our afternoon highs. And we're going to see just these ups and downs. We're going to see a front that dives south for tomorrow, making it cooler. Then it moves north, then it moves south, and then it moves north. And I'm not exaggerating. It'll do it that many times this week. Here's where the front is right now. We're on the warm side of that front currently. And then we're back to that warm side again as we get into Thursday and Friday. But again, lots and lots of ups and downs. But the big question is winter over? Coming up, Chris will be back with a look at our long-range conditions. Let's take a look at what's happening out there right now. 7-day forecast looking nice out there, of course, for today, and then things really start to change.
Well, Elizabeth, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. Traffic has definitely picked up, and you expect it this time of the morning because we're working, sitting on top of this crash on the Durham Freeway 885 near Ellis Road. You can see the congestion in both directions that it's causing. Let's give you a live look now, courtesy of a live cam network, I-85 and TW Alexander Drive. Even though traffic is moving at what I call a steady clip, it's just moving slower than normal. But give yourself some extra time if you're about to head out. Here's what it looks like. If you're heading into Durham this morning, you're looking at a 7-minute delay. If you're leaving Durham, you're looking at a 6-minute delay. So nothing really that's going to make you late. As far as the other major routes into the Bull City, the really only trouble spot, you're leaving Hillsborough this morning, you're leaving I-85, you're looking at a 4-minute delay. So keep that in mind as you get ready to head out the door. Let's bring it back to Wake County. County and isolated the Beltline. You see the southern loop of the Beltline, congestion building starting around Lake Wheeler Road, as well as the northern loop of the Beltline. Those westbound lanes coming off of 87. But here's what it looks like on that southern loop. Boy, those are the westbound lanes moving away from us this morning, just bumper to bumper traffic. And there's no getting around it, right? That's part of your morning commute. Give yourself some extra time. As far as the other major routes into the capital city, our friends in Wake Forest, you're looking at a 15-minute delay. And if you're coming in from Knightdale, you're looking at an 11-minute delay. You're getting ready to head out the door. Always remember, we got you covered. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
After months of negotiations, WakeMed reached an agreement with Aetna. They're renewing their Medicare Advantage plans. And with the contract in place, WakeMed will continue scheduling and providing services on an in-network basis for plan members. Patients should not experience any interruptions in care. And in Edgecombe County, the sheriff is trying to reassure people after a social media post suggested that ICE agents were entering schools. And he says that it's not true. The post claimed that all Mexican students were being called into the school's offices. It led to widespread rumors that ICE agents were rounding up students. The sheriff's office responded to the rumors, claiming that students were being summoned for pre-scheduled English as a second language testing. Sheriff Cleveland Atkinson says that this is an example of the fear that's spreading in the Latino community.
I just pray to God that we can fix this, because we cannot continue going on as a nation with fear in people's hearts like we saw today.
Sheriff Atkinson says he is asking people to call him directly with any concerns about ICE agents in schools. President Donald Trump says that Elon Musk is cleared to access sensitive government computers, and that includes the Treasury Department's payment system. Musk is working with Trump to overhaul government agencies. They say the goal is to slash spending. The White House says Musk is designated as a, quote, special government employee with top secret security clearance.
Elon can't do and won't do anything without our approval, and we'll give him the approval where appropriate. Where not appropriate, we won't.
One of Musk's top targets is the U.S. Agency for International Development, or USAID. That delivers food, medicine, vaccinations, and humanitarian support to 60 countries. Musk says there is too much waste in its $42 billion budget.
Jeff, over to the WRAL Live Center. Some brand new information coming in from Haiti as heavily armed gangs have attacked a neighborhood in Haiti that is home to a lot of that country's elites. 40 people have been killed in an area that is largely untouched by criminals, usually. Police have demanded help in fighting off this assault. They say the gunmen have been going home to home and indiscriminately opening fire on people. They've called in reinforcements. The dead include pastors, teachers, and children, and the number is expected to rise and go higher because authorities, they haven't been able to reach certain parts of that neighborhood. It is home to many politicians and business leaders, so a siege continuing there against gangs in Haiti.
SpaceX is launching a rocket tonight, and this could provide some nice views for people who live in our area. Meteorologist Chris Michael joins us now. And Chris, tell us a little bit about the vapors that people could see in the sky.
Yeah, right. It's the vapor trail that happens after a rocket launch, and this was supposed to happen yesterday evening. It got delayed until this evening. The tentative launch time is 6:07. This is what it looked like on July the 3rd before sunrise. May not look exactly like that. Our sunset's at 5:44, so we're not going to be pitch black at that time. But the weather does look good for launch from Cape Canaveral. Minimal cloud cover there. I would watch any time between 6:07 and 7 p.m. to see that vapor trail that's lit by the setting sun in the western sky. You have to look toward the east and the southeastern sky as it starts to go into some higher altitudes and away from U.S. soil. So if you do get a picture of it, a video of it, no matter where you are, you can send it to us through WRAL.com/report it. We'll try and give you a shout out either this evening or during the morning newscast tomorrow.
All right, thanks, Chris. 4 Texas fathers took down an active shooter at a high school band event. That shooter opened fire at Pasadena Memorial High School. Gunfire struck a 26-year-old percussion instructor, but that person is expected to live. As soon as shots were fired, those 4 dads jumped into action, including 3 of them being military veterans and one of them a 32-year veteran of the Houston Police Department.
As soon as everyone was screaming, yelling, active shooter, gunshots fired, Joe and myself, we looked at each other and it ran straight to the door.
But I think anybody with our collective backgrounds would just do that, just out of nature.
Now, after the takedown, investigators arrested 84-year-old Dennis Brandel Jr. He's charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. But at this point, no bond has been set. A new convention center in Durham is just one step closer to becoming real. According to a new study, Durham is losing millions of dollars on events, and that's because they cannot fit into the current convention center. During a meeting yesterday, county commissioners discussed building a new one, and it could help downtown businesses that still have not recovered from the pandemic.
One of the components of the community that is the most interested in this is our local business owners, particularly the folks downtown who run restaurants and bars and retail shops. They depend on downtown being vibrant and having people moving around and frequenting those places.
Now, to be clear, the county commission did not vote on any proposal last night. Your time is 8:23. Brace for price hikes. What you can expect from China's new retaliatory tariffs announced this morning, and the items that it'll be affected.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning. Your time right now is 8:26. I'm Chris Levingood. We do have meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner out on the WRAL weather patio.
It is a glorious morning out here. I'll tell you what, I'm super excited to be out here right now. We take a live look at Fayetteville. It looks absolutely beautiful as well. Just nothing but sunshine and pleasant temperatures. Town by town, we're starting to see the temperatures creep up just a little bit. Now we're in the mid-50s in Lewisburg and Southern Pines, 53 in Tarboro, 46 in Irwin, 51 in Goldsboro. Feels great out there. We're going to see temperatures in the mid-70s this afternoon. So if you had something you needed to do outside, today's going to be a great day to do it. Don't put it off till tomorrow, because tomorrow will be chilly and drizzly.
All right, Elizabeth, happening now in the WRAL traffic center, that southern loop of the Beltline. Boy, traffic has definitely picked up. Those are the westbound lanes moving away from us at a slow pace this morning. In terms of the major routes heading into the capital city, you're looking at a 20-minute delay. If you're coming in from Apex this morning, you're looking at a 14-minute delay coming in from US 1 and Wake Forest. So leave the house a little sooner than usual just to be on the safe side. Over in the Bull City, no major incidents to report. That crash that was on 885 has cleared, but I'll have an update at the bottom of the hour over on Fox 50.
A 2-year-old boy is recovering at home because he was shot in the leg in Durham. This happened at the Oxford Manor housing complex on Wigan Street just before 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. That boy's aunt says that he was playing on the sidewalk in front of the house when someone started shooting. Today, Wake County school leaders will vote on their top priorities on lawmakers in Raleigh. Now, among the requests is for teacher pay to be raised toward the national average. They also want more flexibility to change their school calendar, as well as more funding for special education. Next on Fox 50, how China's retaliatory tariffs will change the prices that you pay every day.
Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Now on Fox 50, a manhunt in a shooting in Durham. I should say a man was hurt in a shooting in Durham, but police are telling us about the investigation and the man who was sent to the hospital.
Feeling very comfortable right now on the patio, and it's going to be a really warm day. We could tie our record high. Our pattern changes dramatically tomorrow. I'll show you.
Plus, China retaliates. The new counter tariffs that were announced from Beijing this morning, just minutes after President Trump's tariffs took effect at midnight. And a change in leadership. What UNC men's basketball is doing to improve the team after their loss against Duke over the weekend. We'll get to that story, including that story involving the man who was shot in Durham, in just a second. We want to welcome you here to WRAL News at Fox 50. I'm Chris Levingood, and we're going to get right out to Elizabeth Gardner. She's enjoying the morning there on the WRAL weather patio. And later today, I know your attire will look much, much different.
Yes, we're going to warm up quickly. But right now, it is semi-standing in the shade, a teeny bit of a breeze, and temperatures close to 50 degrees. I'm pretty happy in this light jacket. We take a look over downtown Raleigh. Of course, this is the legislative building. A few clouds starting to creep creep in, but today will be mostly sunny to partly cloudy. The later in the day we go, the more clouds we'll see as we see a front that starts to move in, and that front's going to bring us cold temperatures tomorrow and some drizzly conditions. 50 degrees right now, though, with the southwesterly wind. That southwest wind will keep warming us up. It is 55 right now in South Hill, 50 in Durham, 50 in Fayetteville, 49 in Clinton. Temperatures won't even be that warm for highs tomorrow. But today we climb on up into the mid-70s. We could tie the previous record high. I'll show you our big ups and downs and our 7-day forecast coming up. Ken?
All right, Elizabeth, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. Traffic has definitely picked up, but we don't want to tell you about this crash we've been monitoring here on I-440 in the eastbound lane near Wake Forest Road. We're not seeing any delays in the eastbound lanes, but we are seeing the usual congestion building in those westbound lanes, probably people looking to see what's going on. As we isolate the Beltline this morning, that's that northern loop of the Beltline that's starting around Capitol Boulevard, and of course the southern loop of the Beltline right there around Lake Wheeler Road. You can see some bumper-to-bumper traffic as we take this live look, courtesy of a live cam network. I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road, those are the westbound lanes moving away from us this morning. You can see the camera shaking there. In terms of the other major routes heading into the capital city, you guys in Apex, you got to give yourself some extra time this morning because you're looking at almost a half-hour delay coming up on US 1 from all points south as well. Similarly, US 1 coming from Wake Forest, you're looking at a 13-minute delay. I know many of you use the I-540 as an alternate loop for those westbound lanes. You're looking at an 11-minute delay starting at Lewisburg Road and going all the way to I-40 this morning. So, give yourself some extra time if that's part of your morning commute. As far as the Bull City, very little to no delays heading into the Bull City. This is the usual congestion on 885, not seeing any major delay, maybe a 3 to 5 minute delay. You're heading out into the car. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3. We'll listen to you anywhere in the Triangle.
All right, thank you, Ken. Breaking news this morning. A man is hurt after a shooting in Durham this morning. Nick Perlin drove to the scene on South Plum Street in the WRAL Breaking News Tracker.
Durham police were busy early this morning investigating a shooting that left one man hurt. I want to show you some video from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker. This is at a home right off of Ainger Avenue. You can see here the red front door of this home is wide open as investigators take pictures and shine flashlights outside of the home. We also saw Durham police inside of the house trying to gather more information. Here's what we know. We know at around 5, Durham police say they arrived here and found one man shot. That person was taken to the hospital and is expected to recover. They also tell us they were able to arrest the person who they suspected of shooting that man. At this point in time, though, we're still working with the Durham Police Department to figure out what led up to the shooting. As more information comes, we'll be sure to update you. In Durham, Nick Perlin, WRAL News.
Another breaking story we are following this morning. China is putting trade sanctions of its own on the United States. And that's because President Trump placed a 10% tariff on Chinese imports that went into effect at midnight. WRAL's Laura Levine explains how this could affect the prices of a lot of things that we buy here.
Many of the products that we buy as consumers from companies or local businesses like the ones you see here in the Village District are made in China. So the question today is, how will this impact our wallets? We know that China is not backing down now, slamming the U.S. overnight with a series of countermeasures that includes levies on certain American goods. China's finance ministry says it will impose tariffs of 15% for U.S. coal and liquid natural gas and 10% for crude oil, farm equipment, agricultural machinery, and large engine cars imported from the U.S. They also announced they will restrict critical minerals, including tungsten, which is essential for producing cell phones and laptops. In a statement, the Chinese Finance Ministry said the U.S. tariffs severely violate World Trade Organization rules and not only fail to address America's own problems, but also disrupt normal economic and trade cooperation between China and the United States. China is also now investigating Google on suspicion of violating antitrust laws. Of course, all of this is new developing today. We're going to continue to follow the local impact this could have on our economy. So far, we know for now the counter tariffs are slated to take effect next Monday. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Raleigh.
And President Trump agreed to pause tariffs on Mexico and Canada for 30 days. That was after Trump spoke with the leaders of the two countries, and they agreed to increase security at their respective borders. A 2-year-old boy is recovering after he was shot in Durham, and this happened at the Oxford Manor housing complex on Wigan Street just before 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. The boy's aunt says he was playing on the sidewalk in front of the home when someone started shooting. One of those bullets hit him in the leg. The boy's aunt says that he was released from the hospital last night and is recovering at home. But police have not announced any suspects or arrests. New this morning, the mayor of Durham addressed that shooting during a city council meeting. He says no matter how many important issues are on the agenda, the safety of children is the most important.
So as we come together for a myriad of reasons, just think about that 2-year-old baby and the environment that they are growing up in. And I'm not afraid to say I care about all these things, but that is always going to be my #1 priority.
Williams implored everyone who was in attendance at that meeting to take care of each other and their community. Covering Wake County this morning, today school leaders will lay out their top priorities for lawmakers in Raleigh. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey explains the board wants to see issues such as teacher pay and school calendars addressed.
The board will meet here at Wake School's headquarters to talk about what they should bring before state lawmakers. They have 3 main priorities: teacher pay, special education funding, and changing the school calendar. Let's talk about teacher pay first. School leaders want to pay teachers more. That's usually an ask every year. They also want to increase special education funding. Right now, students with more mild disabilities are funded at the same rate as students with more severe disabilities. State officials and local school leaders have discussed changing that funding model. School leaders also are looking to start the school year earlier in August. WRAL Education Insider Emily Walkenhorst explains why.
They want to be able to finish exams before Christmas break, before students kind of have a chance to forget things. They want to be able to align with community colleges since more and more high school students are taking community college classes.
Walkenhorst says all of these are just general ideas. They don't have a dollar amount on these requests yet, but we'll be sure to keep you updated on what comes out of this meeting tonight at 5:30. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Cary.
Breaking news, information just into the WRAL Live Center. A shooting at a school in Sweden is happening right now. There's a large police response there. You see the only picture that we've been able to get from the scene so far here is this one. 5 people have been shot. This is west of Stockholm, Sweden. The extent of any injuries is still unclear. It's currently, police are calling this an attempted murder, an arson, and aggravated weapons offense. Police say that the students at nearby schools are on lockdown. They're being kept indoors for security purposes. We'll continue to follow this.
Goodness, something Americans know far too well. All right, thank you, Jeff. New this morning, a man is seriously hurt after a shooting in Goldsboro. Officers responded to Madison Avenue just after 10 o'clock last night after getting a shot spotter alert. That's where they found a man who was shot. He was taken to the hospital after that, and police say they do have substantial leads toward making an arrest. Raleigh City Council meets this afternoon, and they're going to discuss topics including a new regional call center for transit and additional funding for the Lake Wheeler Road project. And grant funding will also be discussed for the city's e-bike program, and that meeting gets started at 1 o'clock this afternoon. UNC men's basketball head coach Hubert Davis says changes will be coming to the coaching staff. Davis says they plan to increase the size of the staff, hire a general manager, and add more positions involved with certain aspects of modern college athletics. That includes NIL, that includes transfer portals. Carolina is coming off a 17-point loss to rival Duke on Saturday. The Heels are at risk of missing the NCAA tournament.
The old model for Carolina basketball just doesn't work. It's not sustainable. It has to build out because there's so many things in play with NIL, the transfer portal, agents, and you need a bigger staff so I can do what I'm supposed to be doing, is that coaching basketball.
UNC rival Duke has had a general manager for its basketball team since the summer of 2022. Your time's 8:40 this morning. Flooding in California. We're going to take you to the new video of the rushing water creating another hazard for the state, plus avoiding brain injuries. How Duke researchers are working to reduce the risk of dementia in football players. And you know, the temperature roller coaster we're experiencing, well, it continues this first week of February. As you're taking a live look at Warrington, Elizabeth Gardner will tell us which days will feel like April and which days will feel like, well, February. Getting a live look at Pinehurst today. I cannot read minds, but I suspect the golfers today are going, wow, what a lovely morning to go golfing today. It's going to be even better later. As you're watching WRAL News here on Fox 50, we have Elizabeth Garter there with, let's give them the golf forecast. It's going to be a good one today, Elizabeth.
Oh, perfect. I mean, golf, tennis, pickleball. I mean, I could just anything that you're going to do outside, do it today. Today is going to be a marvelous day. And we do have some other warm days in our forecast. We also have some chilly, kind of wet days too. So take advantage of it today. This is a live look at Fayetteville, North Hills and Raleigh, Apex and Chapel Hill. Chapel Hill's courtesy of Top of the Hill Restaurant. It's just beautiful everywhere. We will see some increasing clouds. As a matter of fact, you can see a little bit of cloud cover associated with our front. We'll stay nice and warm today, but watch how that front's getting a little closer to us. It will sink southward, and on the north side of that front, that's where all the cold air is, and that's what we're going to feel for tomorrow. So we're going to see some serious back and forth temps. Right now, we're taking a look at what it's going to look like by this evening. See that warm front? That warm front will slide southward, and all that chilly air will move in for tomorrow. But then it's going to bounce northward again. Take a look. This is kind of a fun graphic that really shows what we're going to see. We're on the south side of that warm front right now, so 76 degrees for today. Watch that front sink southward, and when it does, our high temperature tomorrow is only 49. Then that front moves northward again. We're into the 70s for Thursday, but then we have this front that'll come through, and it may bring us a few isolated showers. We do have the chance for some light rain. We can see some light rain starting later on Wednesday, some showers lingering into Thursday morning, and then with the cold front coming through, that could also bring us a little bit of rain. So 30% chance for Wednesday and Thursday, 20 Friday and Saturday, 30 on Sunday. And we're looking at just maybe a tenth to a quarter of an inch. Super Bowl Sunday could be a little bit wet. Keep checking back. It's a little bit early. If you're planning to grill out, it could be a little bit iffy. We do have some colder air coming next week. Does that mean winter is over? Meteorologist Chris Michaels here with a look at the end of February.
Hey there, Elizabeth. Yeah, so statistically speaking, 57% of our average snow comes after this date. So winter is still far ways from over. It just feels like it is today with temperatures making it into the 70s. Let's look at some of the global patterns here. You notice the wind in the North Atlantic isn't exactly strong, and it's not exactly weak either. But most of that Arctic air is going to stay locked to the north. But you have that colder air that's to the north and that record-breaking warmth to the south. What you get out of that is that front that Elizabeth's been showing you guys, and that's going to be a boundary for many storms to develop, really, as we go through the next 1 to 2 weeks. NOAA's Climate Prediction Center is taking note of that as well. They're showing the risk of heavy snow north of the area heading into next week, but with marginal temperatures here, you can never completely rule out any sort of wintry weather. In fact, just for fun, you look at some of the ensemble forecast data that shows the chance of an inch of snow over the next 10 days. It's between about 15 and 30%. So it's far from a slam dunk, but Elizabeth, we've got 44 days left of winter. Can't go putting the jackets away just yet.
Yeah, you and I pulled that graphic up and we were like, ooh, look at that. But we all know how it goes. The models like to grab onto some things, that maybe are a week or so away, and then they think better of it when we get a little bit closer to it. Let's take a look at our crazy kind of forecast. 76 today, 49 tomorrow, 70s Thursday and Friday, a little cooler Saturday at 60, 70s Sunday, 50s Monday. So hang on for the ride.
All right. Thank you, Elizabeth. Marines from our state left for Guantanamo Bay to help with the president's new plan to detain migrants there. The troops left Cherry Point on Sunday, and their mission is to support the Defense Department's new role in President Trump's immigration crackdown. People who enter the country illegally could now be shipped to Guantanamo Bay, whether they are accused of violent crimes or not. Marines we talked with say that they will serve where they're called.
This is what we train for. At a moment's notice, we get the call. Like I said, we were in the field training for something like this, and it happened. We stay ready, and we're ready to go, and here we are.
Eventually, we knew we'd get that call. That call came down, so here we are getting ready to do the job.
Guantanamo has traditionally been used to house detainees suspected of contributing to the 9/11 attacks on the U.S. And President Trump is exploring several deals to keep Chinese-owned TikTok online in the United States. He signed a new executive order last night that may offer a clue to the app's future in America. Here's Ted Lindner.
While TikTok came back online in the U.S. after a brief blackout in mid-January, the fate of the popular social media app is still up in the air. President Donald Trump has given TikTok's Chinese-owned parent company until early April to find a domestic buyer. Trump also wants the U.S. to have a 50% stake in the app. A new move may help open those doors and allow the U.S. to profit off of TikTok in the future.
We're going to have a sovereign wealth fund.
President Trump signed an executive order Monday instructing the country to explore the creation of a government-owned investment fund, also known as a sovereign wealth fund.
Within the next 12 months, we're going to monetize the asset side of the U.S. balance sheet.
Essentially, sovereign wealth funds are supposed to help countries invest surplus funds in projects that help the nation. They also can put money towards buying government stakes in companies.
The extraordinary size and scale of the U.S. government and the business it does with companies should create value for American citizens. If we are going to buy 2 billion COVID vaccines, maybe we should have some warrants and some equity in these companies.
While details have not been specified, President Trump is suggesting the fund could help finance the purchase of TikTok.
And as an example, TikTok, we're going to be doing something perhaps with TikTok, and perhaps not. If we make the right deal, we'll do it. Otherwise, we won't. But I have the right to do that, and we might put that in the sovereign wealth fund.
President Trump's order will also examine whether Congress will need to pass new legislation for the fund to start.
Does Ted Lindner reporting. New video into our newsroom shows flooding in Northern California from weekend storms. What you're seeing here is in Shasta County. It's not far from the Oregon border. You can see roads washed out from the storms there, and the rain washed out a culvert, and teams were later able to repair that there. Looks significant, though, in damage. Super Bowl 59 is days away from airing here on Fox 50, which is why Duke researchers are calling attention to the long-term impacts of brain injuries from football, specifically on black players. According to the Alzheimer's Association, black men are 2 times more likely to develop Alzheimer's or another form of dementia. The Duke Sports Performance Initiative is working to reduce risk, and that's done by educating athletes at younger ages on signs and symptoms of concussions and other brain injuries. One sports medicine doctor says community involvement is key.
You see these athletes now, in their 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade. All of us have seen these YouTube videos and everything else of them hitting each other, very hard. So some of them are getting these issues at an early age. So the earlier you get to them, the better they are.
The effort also helps athletes manage their mental well-being and mental health screenings. Beyonce releases new information about her tour and a new trailer for yet another Final Destination movie. Here's David Daniel with the Hollywood Minute.
16 carriages driving away one. Beyonce may need even more carriages, and not just to carry her 3 new Grammy Awards. The singer has announced the dates for her Cowboy Carter and the Rodeo Chitlin Circuit tour. 22 shows are scheduled so far, beginning in Los Angeles April 28th and ending in Atlanta July 11th. The full schedule and more info are at Beyonce.com. Yes, it shows. If you're starting to get a bad feeling, you may remember the Final Destination movies. This is your first look at Final Destination Bloodlines, the first new film in the Untimely Death franchise in nearly 14 years. You can find out whether this tattoo artist, played by Richard Harmon, survives this predicament, though you can probably guess, when Final Destination Bloodlines arrives in IMAX and other theaters May 16th. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
And it's because of Final Destination, I will not drive behind a truck carrying logs or other heavy things. Super Bowl week is in full swing in New Orleans. The festivities officially kicked off with the Super Bowl opening night at Caesars Superdome. Players and coaches from both teams made their first public appearances of the week, and fans also had a chance to take pictures with the Lombardi Trophy that will be given to the winner of the big game. Just a reminder, you can watch Super Bowl 59 right here on Fox 50, and kickoff for that game is at 6:30 on Sunday night. Should be a good time. And hey, before we go to break, we do have a look at your winning NC Education Lottery numbers, just in case you missed them. And we'll get you another look on traffic and weather in just a sec.